It was a normal day on Earth. The sun was shining, birds were singing, and people were going about their daily lives. But high above, in the vast emptiness of space, something extraordinary was about to happen. Little Timmy, a bright-eyed 8-year-old boy, was bouncing with excitement. Today was his big day. He was going to be the youngest person ever to do a spacewalk. His parents, both astronauts, had pulled some strings to make this happen. They wanted to inspire the next generation of space explorers. As Timmy floated out of the airlock, his heart raced. He gasped in awe at the breathtaking view of Earth below. The blue and green planet looked like a beautiful marble against the black backdrop of space. Timmy felt like the luckiest kid in the world. But suddenly, something caught his eye. A massive spaceship appeared out of nowhere. It was unlike anything Timmy or his parents had ever seen before. The ship was sleek, shiny, and clearly not of human design. "Mom, Dad, look." Timmy's excited voice crackled over the radio. Aliens. Real aliens. His parents rushed to the window, their faces a mix of wonder and concern. They had no idea what this meant. Was this first contact a threat, or just a peaceful visit? Before they could react, the alien ship started moving. It was heading straight for Timmy. His parents screamed warnings, but it was too late. The massive ship didn't even slow down. It hit Timmy with full force, obliterating the small boy in an instant. For a moment, everything was silent. Timmy's parents stared in horror at the empty space where their son had been just seconds ago. Then, without any warning or explanation, the alien ship vanished as quickly as it had appeared. Back on Earth, chaos erupted. News of the incident spread like wildfire. People were shocked, confused, and angry. How could this happen? Why would aliens kill an innocent child? World leaders scrambled to respond. Emergency meetings were called. Military forces were put on high alert. The entire planet held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. In homes around the world, people huddled around their TVs and phones, hungry for any information. Social media exploded with theories, demands for action, and expressions of grief for little Timmy and his family. Scientists worked around the clock, analyzing every bit of data from the incident. They confirmed what everyone feared. The ship was definitely not from Earth. Humanity had just had its first contact with an alien civilization, and it had ended in tragedy. As days passed, the initial shock turned to anger. People demanded justice for Timmy. They wanted answers. Why had the aliens killed him? Was it an accident, or was it a deliberate act of aggression? The Galactic Empire, as they came to be known, remained silent. No messages, no explanations, no apologies. Their silence only fueled Earth's rage. In secret government facilities around the world, leaders debated their next move. Some wanted to try for peaceful communication. Others called for immediate military action. But all agreed on one thing: Earth needed to respond. Little did the world know, a response was already in the works. Deep underground, in hidden bases across the planet, a secret program was about to be revealed. A program that would change the course of human history forever. As night fell on a grieving planet, the stars seemed to shine a little less brightly. Somewhere out there, an alien empire had made a grave mistake. They had underestimated humanity. They had taken one of our children. And Earth was about to show them exactly how big of a mistake that was. The world was still in shock. It had been a week since little Timmy's death, and the pain was still fresh. But beneath the grief, something else was brewing. A fierce determination was spreading across the planet. In a secret underground bunker, world leaders gathered. The room was tense. Everyone knew this meeting would change the course of human history. The President of the United States stood up. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said, her voice firm, "it's time we show our hand." A hush fell over the room. The leaders looked at each other, confused. What did she mean? The president nodded to a man in the corner. He stepped forward, carrying a small device. With a click, A hologram appeared in the center of the room. Gasps filled the air. It was a spaceship, but not just any spaceship. It was massive, sleek, and more advanced than anything they had ever seen. And it was human-made. "This," the president said, "is the Avenger. And we have 699,999 more just like it." The room erupted in chaos. How was this possible? When did this happen? Why weren't they told? The president raised her hand for silence. "Project Dreadnought," she explained, "has been in the works for decades. We've been preparing for this day, the day when humanity would need to defend itself against threats from the stars." She went on to explain how the world's top scientists and engineers had been secretly working together. They had made breakthroughs in technology that were centuries ahead of what was publicly known. "But why keep it secret?" someone asked. "To protect it," the president replied. "We couldn't risk this technology falling into the wrong hands. And we needed the element of surprise." As the implications sank in, a new feeling began to spread through the room. Hope. For the first time since the incident, they felt like they had a chance. But building the ships was only part of the challenge. They needed people to operate them. Lots of people. "We're going to need volunteers," the Chinese president said. "Millions of them." And so the call went out. In every country, in every language, the message was the same. "Earth needs you." The response was overwhelming. People lined up by the millions to volunteer. Young and old, rich and poor, they all wanted to help. To fight for Earth. To avenge Timmy. Training centers were set up around the world. People learned how to operate the advanced technology, how to fight in space, how to work together as a team. But the Dreadnoughts weren't just about manpower. They were also equipped with the most advanced AI systems ever created. These AIs could think, learn, and adapt faster than any human. In labs across the planet, scientists worked around the clock to develop new weapons and defenses. They created shields that could withstand the heat of a star, weapons that could pierce through any known material, and engines that could bend space itself. As the preparations continued, a sense of anticipation built. Earth was awakening. The sleeping giant was stirring. The Galactic Empire had made a fatal mistake. They thought they were attacking a weak, defenseless planet. Instead, they had poked a dragon. In homes and bars, in schools and offices, people talked about what was coming. They were scared, yes, but they were also excited. For the first time, humanity was united with a common purpose. Little Timmy's parents were invited to see the fleet. As they stood before the massive ships, tears streamed down their faces. "For Timmy," they whispered. Their words became a rallying cry. "For Timmy." People shouted it in the streets, painted it on walls, shared it on social media. It wasn't just about revenge. It was about standing up for what's right. About showing the galaxy that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. As the last of the 700,000 dreadnoughts was prepared, a message was sent out to every corner of Earth. "Get ready. We launch in 24 hours. The time had come. Earth was awake, and it was angry. The Galactic Empire was about to learn a very important lesson. Never underestimate humans. The world was buzzing with activity. Every corner of Earth had turned into a giant training ground. People from all walks of life were preparing for the biggest mission in human history. In a massive hangar in the USA, Sarah, a former schoolteacher, stood in awe before her assigned dreadnought. The ship was huge, sleek, and beautiful. She never imagined she'd be piloting something like this. "Ready for your first lesson," a voice called out. Sarah turned to see her instructor, a retired Air Force pilot named Jack. "As ready as I'll ever be," Sarah replied with a nervous smile. Meanwhile, in a high-tech facility in Japan, a team of scientists was putting the finishing touches on the Dreadnought's AI systems. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the lead AI researcher, worked tirelessly to make sure every ship had the most advanced artificial intelligence possible. "These AIs will learn and adapt faster than any human," Dr. Tanaka explained to her team. They'll be our edge in battle. Across the globe in Brazil, Carlos, a young computer whiz, was part of a team developing new weapon systems. They had created lasers that could cut through the strongest known materials and missiles that could track targets across light years. I never thought my gaming skills would save the world, Carlos joked to his colleague Maria. Maria laughed. Well, those hours of Space Invaders are finally paying off. In Russia, former Olympic athlete Anastasia was training volunteers in zero-gravity combat. The massive training facility simulated space conditions, allowing the recruits to practice fighting without gravity. Remember, Anastasia shouted to her trainees as they floated around. In space, there is no up or down. You must think in 3 dimensions at all times. Back in the USA, little Timmy's parents, John and Lisa, had become the emotional core of the mission. They traveled around the world, sharing their story and inspiring the volunteers. We're not just fighting for revenge, John told a crowd in London. We're fighting to make sure no other parent ever has to feel what we felt. Lisa added, Timmy loved space. He would be so proud to see all of you coming together like this. Their words touched hearts everywhere. The phrase for Timmy became more than just a slogan. It was a promise, a reminder of why they were fighting. In orbit around Earth, the International Space Station had been converted into a command center. Astronauts from different countries worked together, coordinating the massive fleet of Dreadnoughts. Commander Elena Rodriguez looked out at Earth below. It's strange, she said to her colleague. We've always looked at space as something to explore. Now we're treating it like a battlefield. Her colleague, Jean Wei, nodded. But we're not starting this fight. We're finishing it. As the training intensified, so did the anticipation. Everyone knew that soon, very soon, they would be leaving Earth to confront the Galactic Empire. In a secret bunker, world leaders met again to discuss the final plans. The room was tense but filled with determination. Are we really ready for this? The French president asked, voicing the fear they all felt. The U.S. president stood up, her face resolute. We have to be. The Empire has shown us what they're capable of. We can't sit back and wait for them to come back. As the meeting concluded, a decision was made. In 48 hours, the fleet would depart. The news spread quickly. All around the world, final preparations were made. Families said goodbye to their loved ones. Cities held parades to honor their volunteers. The entire planet held its breath, knowing that history was about to be made. In the hangar, Sarah climbed into her dreadnought for the last training session. As she strapped herself in, she touched the photo of Timmy she had taped to the console. This is for you, little one, she whispered, and for all of us. As night fell on Earth for the last time before the mission, millions looked up at the stars. Tomorrow, humanity would no longer just be reaching for those stars. They would be going to war among them. The Galactic Empire had no idea what was coming. Earth was ready, and it was bringing 700,000 dreadnoughts with it. The day had finally arrived. Earth was about to launch the biggest fleet in human history. The air was thick with excitement and fear. As the sun rose, people all over the world gathered around screens. Every TV channel, every streaming service, every social media platform was showing the same thing. The launch of the 700,000 dreadnoughts. In New York City, Times Square was packed. The huge screens that usually showed ads now displayed the countdown. People held their breath as the numbers ticked down. 10, 9, 8. In the cockpit of her dreadnought, Sarah took a deep breath. She looked at the photo of Timmy one last time before focusing on her controls. 7, 6, 5. In mission control, Dr. Yuki Tanaka ran final checks on the AI systems. Everything was green. The AIs were ready. 4, 3, 2. In their home, John and Lisa, Timmy's parents, held hands tightly. Tears streamed down their faces as they watched the countdown. 1. The world held its breath. Love and T. With a roar that shook the earth, 700,000 dreadnoughts lifted off. They rose from hidden bases all over the planet, from deserts, from oceans, from mountains. The sky filled with gleaming ships, each one a marvel of human engineering. People cheered and cried as they watched. It was a sight no one had ever seen before. The ships kept coming, wave after wave, until the sky was full of them. As the dreadnoughts reached space, they formed up into a massive fleet. From the International Space Station, Commander Elena Rodriguez watched in awe. "My God," she whispered, "we really did it." The fleet stretched out further than the eye could see. Each ship was a city in space, carrying thousands of crew members, advanced weapons, and the hopes of humanity. Back on Earth, people were glued to their screens, watching the fleet's progress. Special cameras had been set up in space to broadcast the historic moment. In London, a young boy tugged on his mother's sleeve. "Mom, are those all our ships?" The mother nodded, her eyes never leaving the screen. "Yes, sweetheart, those are all ours." As the fleet moved further from Earth, a message was broadcast to every ship. It was from the world leaders, speaking together for the first time in history. "Brave men and women of Earth," the message began. "Today, you carry with you the hopes and dreams of our entire planet. You go to face an enemy that has shown no mercy, but you also go to show the galaxy who we are. We are humanity. We are strong. We are united, and we will not be bullied or pushed aside." The message continued. "Remember why you fight. Remember Timmy. Remember Earth. Good luck, and Godspeed." There wasn't a dry eye on any ship after that message. As Earth grew smaller behind them, the reality of their mission began to sink in. They were leaving everything they knew to face an unknown enemy in the vastness of space. Sarah looked out her view screen at the other ships around her. Each one carried people just like her. Teachers, doctors, factory workers, students, ordinary people doing an extraordinary thing. In the ship's mess hall, Carlos and Maria shared a meal with their crewmates. The mood was a mix of excitement and nerves. "I still can't believe we're really doing this," Maria said. Carlos nodded. "Yeah, who would have thought that playing video games would prepare us for actual space battles?" Everyone laughed, grateful for the moment of likeness. As the fleet reached the edge of the solar system, they prepared for the jump to light speed. This was it. Once they made the jump, there was no turning back. The order came through. "All ships, prepare for light speed jump." Sarah took a deep breath and placed her hand on the control. Around her, 699,999 other pilots did the same. "For Earth," she whispered. "For Timmy." And with that, in a flash of light that lit up the solar system, the fleet disappeared into the depths of space. The Galactic Empire had no idea what was coming their way. Humanity was on the move, and they were bringing 700,000 dreadnoughts with them. The greatest adventure in human history had begun. After weeks of travel through the vastness of space, Earth's fleet finally arrived at the edge of the Galactic Empire's territory. The mood on the ships was tense. This was the moment they had been preparing for. Sarah sat in her dreadnought, her hand steady on the controls. She looked at the sea of stars before her, wondering which one hid their enemy. Suddenly, alarms blared across the fleet. Multiple ships detected. A voice called out over the comms. "Empire vessels approaching." The crew of every dreadnought sprang into action. This was it. First contact. On the main screen, they saw the Empire's ships appear. They were huge, easily twice the size of Earth's dreadnoughts. Their sleek alien design made them look like predators ready to pounce. "Hold your positions," Commander Rodriguez's voice came through. "Let them make the first move." The two fleets faced each other in silence. It was a standoff unlike anything in human history. Suddenly, a message came through. It was from the Empire. Everyone held their breath as it was translated. "Insignificant beings," the message read, "you dare to enter our space. Turn back now or be destroyed. The humans looked at each other in disbelief. After killing an innocent child, this was how the Empire greeted them. Before they could respond, the Empire ships opened fire. Bright beams of energy shot towards the Earth fleet. "Shields up!" Sarah yelled, her training kicking in. All around her, the Dreadnoughts activated their defensive systems. The Empire's weapons hit the shields and dissipated. The humans watched in amazement as their defenses held strong. Now it was Earth's turn. All ships, return fire, Commander Rodriguez ordered. 700,000 dreadnoughts fired at once. The space between the fleets lit up like 1,000 suns. The Empire ships, caught off guard by the humans' advanced technology, took heavy damage. The battle raged on. Empire ships exploded left and right, unable to withstand the humans' assault. But the Empire had numbers on their side. For every ship they lost, 2 more seemed to take its place. In the midst of the chaos, Sarah noticed something. "Look," she called out. "Their ships, they're retreating." Sure enough, the Empire vessels were falling back. The humans had won the first round. As the last Empire ship disappeared, a cheer went up across the Earth fleet. They had done it. They had faced the Galactic Empire and survived. But their victory was short-lived. As they regrouped, they received a transmission from Earth. The Empire had attacked several human colonies while the main fleet was away. The news hit hard. They had won the battle, but the war was far from over. In the command ship, the human leaders gathered to discuss their next move. The Empire was stronger than they had anticipated. They needed a new plan. "We can't just keep fighting," one general said. "We need to talk to them, make them understand why we're here." Others disagreed. "They killed a child." Another shouted, "They don't deserve our words." As the argument heated up, a young lieutenant spoke up. "What if we do both?" she suggested. "We fight when we need to, but we also try to communicate. Show them we're strong, but also reasonable." The room fell silent as they considered her words. Finally, Commander Rodriguez nodded. "That's what we'll do," she said. "We'll show the Empire the best and worst of humanity." With their new strategy in place, the fleet prepared for their next move. They would push further into Empire territory, ready for both war and peace. As Sarah returned to her dreadnought, she looked at Timmy's photo. "We're doing this for you, little one," she whispered, "and for all of us." The first contact with the Galactic Empire had not gone as expected. But humanity had proven itself a force to be reckoned with. The Empire had underestimated them once. They wouldn't make that mistake again. As the Earth fleet moved out, one thing was clear. The galaxy would never be the same again. The vastness of space lit up with explosions. Earth's fleet and the Galactic Empire were locked in a fierce battle. It was a sight that would have been impossible to imagine just a few months ago. Sarah's dreadnought dodged a blast from an Empire ship. She gritted her teeth and fired back. Her shot hit its mark, and the enemy ship exploded in a ball of fire. "Nice shot, Sarah." Carlos's voice crackled over the comm. His ship flew past hers, chasing after another Empire vessel. The battle raged across multiple star systems. Earth's 700,000 dreadnoughts were spread out, fighting enemies on all fronts. The Empire had numbers, but the humans had superior technology and an unbreakable spirit. In the command ship, Commander Rodriguez watched the battle unfold on a giant holographic display. "We're holding our own," she said, "but we need to push harder." She turned to her team. "It's time for Phase 2. Get me the Emperor." Meanwhile, on the front lines, the fighting was intense. Maria's ship took a hit, rocking violently. "I'm hit," she yelled. "Shields at 50%. "I've got you covered," Sarah responded, swooping in to defend her friend. She unleashed a barrage of fire, destroying the ships attacking Maria. As the battle continued, something strange began to happen. Some of the Empire ships started to retreat. Others seemed confused, firing at random. "What's going on?" Carlos asked, noticing the change. The answer came moments later, a message broadcast across all channels, in both human and Empire languages. It was Commander Rodriguez speaking directly to the Empire forces. "Attention, soldiers of the Galactic Empire," her voice boomed. "We are not here for total destruction. We came seeking justice for a child killed by your leaders. But we are willing to talk. End this senseless violence. Let us find a peaceful solution." The effect was immediate. More Empire ships stopped fighting. Some even turned against their own, firing on ships that continued to attack the humans. But the Empire's leaders weren't giving up so easily. A massive ship, bigger than anything they'd seen before, appeared out of hyperspace. It was the Emperor's personal battleship. "Puny humans," a voice growled over the comms. It was the Emperor himself. "You think you can challenge us? We will crush you like the insects you are." The Emperor's ship fired a weapon of unimaginable power. A beam of energy cut through space, destroying everything in its path. "Evasive maneuvers," Sarah yelled. The Earth fleet scattered, barely avoiding the devastating attack. But the humans weren't beaten yet. Dr. Tanaka's voice came over the comms. "We've analyzed their weapon. There's a weakness. If we hit it here," a diagram appeared on their screens, "we can disable it." It was a tiny target, almost impossible to hit, but Sarah knew she had to try. She pushed her ship to its limits, dodging enemy fire as she raced towards the Emperor's ship. Time seemed to slow down. Sarah could hear her heart pounding. She thought of Earth, of her family, of little Timmy. With a deep breath, she fired. The shot streaked across space, threading its way through the chaos of battle. It hit its mark perfectly. The Emperor's superweapon exploded, taking a large part of his ship with it. A cheer went up across the human fleet. The Emperor's ship, crippled and defenseless, began to retreat. Other Empire ships followed suit. As the enemy fled, the humans regrouped. They had won a major victory, but the war wasn't over yet. Back on the command ship, Commander Rodriguez addressed the fleet. "Well done, everyone. We've shown the Empire what humanity is capable of. But remember, our goal isn't just victory in battle. We're here for justice and for peace." She paused, looking out at the stars. "We've opened a channel for diplomacy. Now we wait to see if the Empire is wise enough to use it." As the adrenaline of battle faded, the enormity of what they'd accomplished sank in. Humans, in their first major space battle, had gone toe-to-toe with the Galactic Empire and emerged victorious. Sarah looked at Timmy's photo once more. "We did it, little one," she whispered. "We showed them. We showed the whole galaxy." The battle was over, but the war for humanity's place in the galaxy had only just begun. The great space battle was over. The stars, which had been lit up with explosions, were now quiet. Earth's fleet of 700,000 dreadnoughts hovered in space, battered but unbeaten. On the main command ship, Sarah, Carlos, and Maria stood with Commander Rodriguez. They watched as a small Empire ship approached. It was carrying the Empire's leaders for peace talks. "I never thought I'd see this day," Sarah said, her voice filled with wonder. Commander Rodriguez nodded. "Neither did I. But here we are." The Empire ship docked, and out stepped the alien leaders. They looked nothing like humans had imagined. They were tall, with blue skin and 4 arms. Their eyes were wide and full of something that looked like fear. The Emperor, once so proud and fierce, now looked small. He bowed his head to the human leaders. We surrender," he said in a shaky voice. A cheer went up from the humans. They had done it. They had won. But Commander Rodriguez raised her hand for silence. "We didn't come here just for your surrender," she said to the Emperor. "We came for justice, for understanding, for peace." The peace talks lasted for days. The humans told the story of Timmy, the little boy whose death had started it all. The Empire leaders listened, and for the first time, they seemed to understand the pain they had caused. We didn't know," one of them said. "We didn't think of you as real beings. We were wrong." So wrong. In the end, a peace treaty was signed. The Galactic Empire would pay for what they had done. They would help rebuild the human colonies they had destroyed, and they would welcome Earth into the galactic community as equals. As news of the peace spread, celebrations broke out across Earth and its colonies. People danced in the streets, hugged strangers, and looked up at the stars with new hope. But for Sarah, the real moment of victory came later. She stood with Timmy's parents as the Empire leaders apologized to them personally. "We cannot bring back your son," the Emperor said, his voice heavy with regret. "But we can honor his memory. From this day forward, we will create a galactic peace program in Timmy's name. No child, from any world, will ever suffer because of our actions again." Tears streamed down John and Lisa's faces. They hugged each other then. To everyone's surprise, they hugged the Emperor too. "This is what Timmy would have wanted," Lisa said softly. Peace. In the months that followed, the galaxy changed. Humans and aliens began to work together. They shared technology, culture, and ideas. The universe, once so big and scary, became a place of wonder and friendship. Sarah found herself teaching alien children how to pilot spaceships. Carlos and Maria led teams that combined human and alien technology to solve galactic problems. And on Earth, a new monument was built. It showed a small boy reaching out to the stars. At its base was a simple message: "For Timmy, and for all the children of the galaxy. May we never forget the lessons of peace." Years passed. Earth became a major power in the galaxy, known for its bravery, its technology, and its compassion. The story of how one child's death led to a revolution of kindness became legend. On the anniversary of the Great Battle, Sarah stood on the deck of her dreadnought, now a peace vessel. She looked out at the stars, thinking of how far they had come. A small alien child tugged at her sleeve. "Captain Sarah," the child said, "tell us the story again. The one about Earth and the Dreadnoughts." Sarah smiled. She gathered the children, human and alien alike, and began the tale. It all started with a brave little boy named Timmy, who dreamed of the stars. As she spoke, Sarah knew that Timmy's dream had come true in ways no one could have imagined. Humanity had reached the stars, and in doing so, they had not just found their place in the galaxy. They had made the galaxy a better place for everyone. The universe would never forget the day Earth responded with 700,000 dreadnoughts. But more importantly, it would never forget the lesson of peace that came after.